Good morning. So, before work, I am boiling 12 eggs. I'm going to put them in here after they cool off. And here they are. So far, it's been like 20 minutes. My hair keeps falling down. I guess I need to cut it a little bit so it's not so heavy. But I hope and pray you all are having a blessed week. It's Friday. Boop. Just waiting on my ride this morning. Did a few sit-ups because I had been slacking. I was doing 200 a day, and then I started slacking. I don't even know when I stopped. It feels like forever, but hey, it's a time for everything, right? So I want to exercise. When you start your time of the month, exercise is super good for that because it moves it along quicker. So I have heard. And drinking tons of water. So I've been drinking tons of water. And yeah. But I was, what was I doing yesterday? I was reading in Ecclesiastes yesterday. And I liked it. I haven't read in there a while, and I haven't heard too many lessons on it. I've heard a few verses every now and then mentioned, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of something specific that I was reading about in chapter 7. Is it 7? Oh no, it's chapter 8. And was it chapter 8? I underlined so many things. Okay, so let me just read what I had underlined. So chapter 5, verses 1 to 5 say, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. For they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not things bear he haste, and not thine heart be hasty to utter wise things. Let me turn the light on. So silly. Okay, so chapter 5 says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools. For they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. For God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. For a dream cometh through the multitude of busyness, and a fool's voice is known by multitude of words. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath not pleasure in fools. Pay that which thou hast vowed. Better it is that thou shouldst not vow, than that thou shouldst vow and not pay. Man, is that real? Is that real? So it's better to not promise God anything. I'll do this, Lord. I'll do that. Don't do that. Don't do it, because you probably won't be able to do it forever. What's this other one? Rejoice in your labor. So this is also chapter 5 in verse 18 through 20. Let's see. Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and to drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor, that he taketh under the sun all the days of his life, which God giveth him, for it is his portion. Every man also to whom God hath given riches and wealth, and hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart. Verse 8 of chapter 6. For what hath the wise more than the fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. Let me read that one again. So chapter 6 verse 9. Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity and vexation of spirit. That which hath been named already, that which hath been is named already, and it is known that it is man, neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Chapter 7. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than the mighty men which are in the city, for there is not a just man upon earth that doth good and sinneth not. That's 7 verse 19 and 20. Wisdom strengtheneth the wise more than 10 mighty men which are in the city, for there is not a just man upon earth that doeth good and sinneth not. That's a good reminder. We are not perfect. What else did I underline? Okay, so chapter 8, it says, who is as the wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of God, be not hasty to go out of his sight. Stand not in an evil thing, for he doeth whatever pleases him. Where the word of a king is, there is power, and who may say unto him, what doest thou? Whoso keepeth the commandments shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. Because to every purpose there is time and judgment, therefore the misery of man is great upon him, for he knoweth not that which shall be, for who can tell him when it shall be? There is no man that hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit. Neither hath he power in the day of death, and there is no discharge in that war. Neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. All this have I seen, and applied my heart unto every work that is done under the sun. There is a time wherein one man ruleth over another to his own hurt. And so I saw the wicked buried, who had come and gone from the place of the holy, and they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This is also vanity. Those were a few of the verses I had underlined just to go back and read it over and over again. Some of them I read quite a few times, especially that one, the last one in verse 9 of chapter 8, and the one about wisdom, that was also chapter 8. And the vow one, it's just so funny how many times you can read the Bible and not, I don't say not remember, but as a child, if you were reading it, and then maybe that's when I just was trying to remember, like, why does it feel like I haven't heard that? But every instant, every growth spurt that I've had spiritually has just given me new eyes to read, and I love it. I feel like a child again. You know what I mean? Every time I read something that I was like, did it always say that? Say it like that. I hear it differently now for me. I hear it like it's a new lesson, for me. I pray that makes sense. I'm sure it makes sense, believer. So I just wanted to share those words from the Word, share some truth from the Word of God. And on this morning, whatever you're doing today, I pray that you are in happy, what did it say? The sad countenance. So I pray you're in a joyful countenance during it. And I pray that if you have, children in the home with you all day, that they're a joy to you as well, and you're a joy to them.